I want to say about Candyman. I went and saw it with my friend Brandon Scott Jones, and there's a scene in this movie where Xander Berkeley, he has to authentically, accidentally say the name Helen 3 times. Helen's dead, and he's just like, Helen. Helen. We said this is the hardest acting exercise. So we invented this acting exercise called the 3 Helens, where you just have to try to say Helen 3 times, make it seem natural, and don't laugh.
Hi, welcome back to Staff Picks. I'm Danielle Radford, and we are back at the Archive in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I am back with our special guests, Millie Tamares and Connor Ratliff, along with my co-host, Patrick Willems. And today, we are getting spooky. Oh no! To get us started, Patrick, what'd you pick for your horror?
I brought a weird movie from the mid-90s. Are these organized at all? Oh man. Wolf, the movie where Jack Nicholson is a wolf. I am picking this. I brought Wolf, starring Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer. The movie where Jack Nicholson is a werewolf. There was this kind of funny trend in the early to mid 90s where Columbia Pictures decided that they wanted to make classy horror movies for adults by like major directors that might win Oscars. Mike Nichols, director of films such as The Graduate, made Wolf, a movie where Jack Nicholson, an editor at a publishing company, gets attacked by a wolf, and he starts developing wolf-like tendencies and growing more hair. And at one point in the movie, and this is my big pitch for why I think it should win, he pees on James Spader. And also starts becoming very attractive to Michelle Pfeiffer, who is, this isn't quite Catwoman, but she's kind of becomes more animalistic as the thing goes on. There is a werewolf battle in the climactic scene. One of the great pleasures in cinema is watching Jack Nicholson really go crazy. And he really goes crazy here.
It is Mexican.
All right, Millie, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I really thought through 2 things. I thought, 1, what was actually terrifying for me? And 2, what also caused a sexual awakening? This one I might pick. I do not like horror. This does things to me sexually. For now, Williott, the guy who plays Williott, he also plays the dad in Back to the Future. It's not everyone's type, but he does things so, and actually a lot of rats is a nightmare. I'm gonna have to go with Williott. We love a creepy guy who looks a little crazy, and rats are gross and scary. I could not think of a more scary film except for Joe's Apartment, which is the same thing as Willard's, except roaches. And that's somehow a comedy? I think not. Crispin Glover, who is the dad, right?
Yep, in Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, who I thought was really hot. The creepiest, scariest part about this movie is that it features the song Ben, which is the song Michael Jackson wrote about his pet rat that his dad fucking killed. It's so dark and gory and sad, and maybe possibly the only authentic friend Michael Jackson had. And he made that song, and now it's in this fucking movie that's creepy as hell. So there we go, Williott.
You got a friend in me.
And now Ben is stuck in my head and will be for the rest of the night. So as for me, for my horror pick, went with a classic. It's one of my favorite horror movies. Well, we don't have a softcore porn category, but if we did, that would be for this one.
There's a lot of softcore porn.
There is a lot of softcore porn. Hey, look. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do Cabin in the Woods. I actually genuinely really enjoy this movie. No. Cabin in the Woods is great. Candyman's more of a classic. Candyman. Ooh. Speaking of creepy things, lots of bees. That's one thing me and Nick Cage have in common. Don't like the bees. Get the bees away from me. Tony Todd is amazing. He has that voice just all the time in real life. I don't know how he hasn't lost his voice yet. Aside from, obviously, it deals with a lot of social issues. They're in Chicago. It's really scary, but it's that kind of scary where it's also like a little sexy until he tries to make out with you and then, oh no, bees. But before that, it's almost like, oh, I could be seduced by this man and then bees. For me, I saw it as a kid and it was terrifying. I remember kids trying to go do the Candyman, not gonna say it 3 times because I'm looking into something that could be considered a mirror. But kids would go and do that and I would be like, not in my house, you do not bring the devil in here.
Kids are stupid.
We're not inviting Tony Todd over to the crib. But this was so good that it obviously like it got I guess like a sequel, spiritual remake.
A requel.
A requel, there we go. It does that great thing that a lot of horror movies do where you really do feel sympathy for the devil because of the things that like he went through, but also like you can't just steal a white woman and bury her under a mountain of like wood and set it on fire. Like you just kind of can't do that. You can't do that to any woman, but they'll find the white woman.
The Candyman can.
Well, that's why they have this song.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, great score by Philip Glass.
Yes.
Helen?
All right, Connor, what did you bring us for horror?
Well, I'm a slow browser, and I take a long time to make decisions. And this is a timed exercise, and I really ran out of time. I got 30 seconds left.
We hit the time limit, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds.
Okay. Everything I was seeing, I saw Ghostbusters 2. I thought that's not going to do it for me. I like Ghostbusters 2, but I was looking for the perfect pick. At some point, I'd seen The Shining on one of the shelves, but I couldn't remember where I'd seen it. That would have been a classic pick, obviously. And then I got into my head that I wanted to pick something like Eraserhead or Lost Highway by David Lynch. Well, couldn't find anything that technically is horror. So we go with The Horrors of Aging. I picked The Straight Story by David Lynch. The Chicago Tribune described as the sweetest and most compassionate movie Lynch has ever made.
That could still be a horror movie.
Now,
Honestly.
Now, I do want to make this pitch legitimately for this, that there is the horror genre, of course, but there is perhaps no greater horror in this world than The Horrors of Aging. And this is a movie about a very old man who rides a tractor across the country to see his also very old brother. And in the final moments of the movie, they talk about their experiences in World War II, which were horrific.
What's straight about it?
His name is Alvin Straight.
Okay.
And this is his story.
Oh, okay.
Also, presumably, he drives that tractor in like mostly a straight line.
It's a little curvy every now and then.
Also, suppose if you were like someone who's really into like what David Lynch usually does, and then you'd be like, ooh, you know, twisted David Lynch, and you put this on, you might be scared because it's very different.
I do think that if you watch this movie and think of it as a horror movie, you will experience it as such. It is also, I should say, a Walt Disney Pictures production, and it is rated G. It's documented on tape, me picking this in essentially overtime. I said, how many seconds do I have left? And I was told, you are out of time. I grabbed The Straight Story.
Oh my God.
And I think it should be in the store. I think it should be in the horror section.
I'm just hearing the Sonic music when like Sonic's about to drown. It's just like,
Yeah.
I do like how we've got rats, bees, wolves, aging.
Yeah, I'm more scared of this than any of those.
Give
me some wolves, give me some bees.
I mean, to tie in the other episode, so are many of the Real Housewives. They are also scared of aging, and many people are, and hence Botox. So
Yeah.
people do spend
Legitimate.
more money trying to get rid of aging than they do trying to get rid of wolves or bees.
That is
And
true.
I see rats every day.
although terrifying, man in a middle part.
Yeah, but we don't know
Scary, sexy?
old white man in a cowboy hat. You don't know where he's parting it.
Well, we don't know where he was on January 6th, 2021.
I have some ideas.
And
No,
that
no,
is
I
scary.
do.
he was dead. He was fully dead.
Yeah. Candyman was the last movie I saw in a movie theater, this version, before the pandemic hit, like days before the pandemic hit. It's still hard to get to that the third Helen. And I think I tweeted at Xander Berkeley about this because we were talking about this scene.
Did Xander Berkeley reply to your tweet?
Yeah, he said it was hard to do.
There you go, from the man himself.
There you go.
I think it's more than 3 because 3 you could get to. I think it might be 5.
Yeah, because you could do like a disappointed parent,
People
like,
say
oh,
five.
Helen.
It's 5?
Definitive is 5.
Yeah, so that's the thing. 3 is easy. Getting to that 4th and 5th
Does
one.
it have to be a head shaking like Helen?
It's
It's whatever.
You're grief stricken because she's gone, and then but you're also by yourself. So and you're in the bathroom, so you got to find a reason to say Helen 5 times in the bathroom, mournfully. You mix it up a little. It's a really hard acting exercise.
Does it have to be just Helen in a row? Or
Just Helen in a row.
Because if you break it, that's why the Candyman system 5 is like it's like a 2-step verification for like it's like you're not
You
gonna
want him
like Beetlejuice. You might accidentally like bring him because you say it 3 times.
Beetlejuice.
Like Candyman, it's like very
let's not get
responsible.
ahead
It's
of
like
ourselves.
you don't call him unless you're calling him. It's very responsible, I think.
That's
Yeah.
like having him on speed dial.
Yeah, you don't.
You're not butt dialing.
Yeah, you don't butt dial Candyman.
I feel like, are we putting in Candyman? What do
No,
we-
that was just a fun thing to talk about. Candyman.
Anyway, he's all in on the straight story.
It's got too many special features. Who cares about him? Anyway, you don't even want them.
When you were describing Wolf, it sounded like a comedy.
There is funny stuff in it. There's dramatic stuff in it. There is a big fight scene, so there's action, but it's horror the most.
There's a lot about publishing.
There is.
Which is documents.
Yes.
It's a documents movie.
And you also have him then like running around on all fours through Central Park and attacking people.
Yeah, that sounds hilarious.
It is a weird movie, to be very clear.
Even though I feel like this is very scary, I'm happy to concede.
Wow.
Ooh.
All right.
Connor, would you mind reading the one review quote?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One howl of a movie, says King Charlotte for NBC today. Not hell, howl. What the hell?
Thank you so much. Here's the thing about Wolf. It doesn't even have a description.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you what the plot is or anything. All it gives you is one howl of a movie.
What do you want to say about Straight Story?
It's a winner.
Connor.
This DVD comes with a note from the director.
Oh my God.
What?
David Lynch says, I know that most DVDs have chapter stops. It is my opinion that a film is not like a book. It should not be broken up. It is a continuum and should be seen as such. Thank you for your understanding, David Lynch.
That is a horror director move because he's saying right there, you are trapped in this movie.
Also, David Lynch, what's the weather like tonight?
Tonight, it will be reasonably wet, but mostly dry.
I think Wolf is a blast.
Absolute blast.
But also, for horror, I think Candyman is the best actual horror movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it has the
I-
most special features by far. But I will not relent.
I feel like I vote for Candyman.
Candyman is obviously amazing. It is the most, I'd say, pure like horror movie of all of these. But you're gonna be able to find Candyman basically everywhere.
But I will say, we did pick Aaron Brockovich.
That is true.
It's a balance between, right? Like things that we can find easily and also what is the best representation
I
of
don't
this
think
thing.
they all have to be like really obscure movies.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. All of these were released by major Hollywood studios. That's a Disney movie.
That's wild.
My pitch for the Straight Story is that, yes, sure, you can find it, but in a horror section?
This is the choice that you clearly put the least thought into
Yes.
and just
Yes.
desperately grabbed at a random movie, and now we're pitching harder than anything else you've done this whole day.
Right, because I've had no success.
Trying a different
I
strategy.
am like a cornered rat.
Connor's going hard for the Straight Story.
Yes.
Danielle,
But
you want hard
I-
for Candyman?
I also agree that Candyman's a better choice. But that doesn't change what I'm saying.
I will say, if I can not vote for Straight Story, I will.
You are not, there's no way I get your vote for Straight Story.
You're voting for literally anything but Straight Story.
I think so, yeah.
All right, well,
Okay.
it can't win. It can't win. There's no path to victory.
Danielle, is there any world where you would vote for Straight Story?
I'm really trying to get there.
No,
I'm really-
Danielle,
Just
we
like
gotta
Alvin
be
Straight, the
like
whole
every-
movie. He's trying to get there. That's what the movie's about.
You know, Danielle, we gotta be black women in every vote in America and do the right thing and not vote for the ridiculous choice.
Whoever went wrong voting against Sweetness and Compassion? Since when has Sweetness and Compassion ever been a winning strategy?
It's gotta be Candyman.
Yeah.
Candyman.
Yeah.
Give me your Helens.
She's dead. You're in the bathroom. You're alone.
Helen. That's 5.
Are you on the toilet saying Helen? Were we?
That was like
You
a
were
Helen
sitting-
Yeah, he,
speed run.
Yeah.
blazed through it.
It was
Interesting
good.
strategy.
But you know what? It's a good strategy.
I'm gonna take some acting inspiration from Mr. Tommy Wiseau. Helen, 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 Helen.
That was 5.
Imagine that she comes back and then finds just you dead.
That's 5.
I got that last one. That last
You
one.
got that one.
That was the heartstrings one.
Connor, I feel like you gotta go. Mr. Example.
Ellen.
Stupid. Wow.